Today, I want to delve into what exactly the bury your gays trope is in media. While it isn't actually burying gay characters, I'd consider it close enough. The bury your gays trope, which used to be referred to as dead lesbian syndrome, is in which LGBTQ+ characters will be killed off or live extremely miserable lives much more often than their straight counterparts. These fates often come right after a time of extreme happiness for characters, especially after characters accept or make big strides in relation to their queerness. The trope is a bigger part of an underlying issue within queer representation in media. But the bury your gays trope is easily the most misunderstood issue watchers have. The trope does not necessarily apply to all queer characters who die. And the solution to fixing the trope is not giving all queer characters immortality. Within shows where characters die often, shows that fall victim to the trope will have their gay characters die in much more tragic and seemingly pointless ways. So just because your favorite gay character dies, it does not necessarily mean that their death was a part of the trope. Take Dani from The Haunting of Bly Manor, one of my favorite queer characters to ever exist. Her death did make a lot of sense in the story, even if I want to blame it on a trope. The first example I want to cover is Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Tara, after just getting back together with a main character, Willow, was killed randomly by a stray bullet.
I love you. You know that, right?
Buffy. You think you could just do that to me? You think I'd let you get away with that? Think again.
Your shirt. Tara?
Sweet fancy Moses, where the hell did he... Oh, God.
Tara? Baby? Baby, come on. Get up.
Oh, God. Buffy. Buffy. Buffy.
No. No. No.
Tara, while not being a main character, was still an important part of the story. She often helped the main group and had been on the show for various seasons. She had her own fleshed-out story and plot, and helped the group at different key points, despite mainly being in the show for Willow. While her partner Willow is canonically lesbian, due to the death of Tara, she becomes Dark Willow, brutally killing Tara's murder, which deserved, but also nearly causing the apocalypse. While this death is meant to show that even in a supernatural world, there can still be non-magical dangers, Tara's death is sudden and ultimately extremely unsatisfying. No heroic move, no impactful death to show the power of a nemesis. Simply a perfectly placed bullet through a window. In addition, right before her death, Willow and Tara finally got back together after breaking up over Willow's use of magic. Willow was able to show character growth and was able to reduce her amount of magic use for Tara, but Tara's death ultimately undid all of that work, making her as a character and her impact seem pointless. It is important to note that this on-screen death aired back in 2002, and as such, it is important to frame it in context and realize that the trope wasn't really an issue prior to this, but that does not mean it should not be called out. Next, on the show The 100, Lexa was a strong leader for her people and initially clashed with her love interest Clark, the main character, but after 2 seasons of build-up was killed right after the two finally slept together.
The hands of Skycrew's thief. She might even be angry enough to declare war!
Help me get her to the bed. I need something to stop the bleeding. Be okay, just lie still, okay? Lie still.
We must complete the ritual. Please.
The social media impact of this death was massive and spread far beyond the parameters of just the fandom. The enemies to lovers trope, which is extremely popular in modern media, was built up expertly by the show. Clark and Lexa had amazing chemistry and sexual tension, only elevated by both characters being extremely strong on the show. The two characters finally got their kiss, leading to them sleeping together, only for Lexa to die by the end of the episode. Fans of the show loved the pairing of the two characters, and the immediate reaction was excitement. However, it was soon followed by outrage. Fans were extremely upset by the death and how it simply didn't feel fitting for Lexa's character. A character known for her smarts and her battle prowess to be killed off by a stray bullet seems extremely lazy. Lexa, who was the same person that was able to unify 12 clans all under one, was the same person that got killed in one of the stupidest ways the show has shown. Even in her short runtime on the show, she was a fan favorite and had a lot of potential for story and elevated the show in more ways than one. However, instead of capitalizing on that fact, the showrunners killed her off in such a boring way, leaving a great character feeling unfinished and extremely underutilized. In fact, there was no compelling thematic reason to kill Lexa off. There could have been a much more compelling storyline if the two had stayed together, but the show couldn't resist burying their gays and not letting the couple be happy. For my final example, I want to talk about a show that happened as recently as 2020. Castell, after finally confessing to his love interest Dean, was sent to a hell worse than hell. Super hell.
It was Chuck all along. We never should have left Sam and Jack. We should be there with them now. Everybody's gonna die, Cass. Everybody. I can't stop it.
You changed me, Dean.
Why does this sound like a goodbye?
Because it is. I love you.
Don't do this, Cass. Cass.
Goodbye, Dean.
Supernatural is no stranger to the trope. The first gay character on the show was immediately killed off, and another lesbian character was killed off just to help the straight character's story along. With Castell and Dean, some fans have tried to argue that the relationship was purely platonic, and that Castell's confession was that he loved Dean as a friend, which is total bullshit. But both the actor who played Castell and the producer confirmed that it was a romantic confession. The confession would also not make any sense as to why he couldn't tell Dean if it was simply a platonic confession. There are countless gripes with Castell's death, but many felt that Dean added nothing to the scene and simply stared as his supposed good friend confessed his love as he was sacrificing his life. Viewers also felt the death was enforcing the idea that being gay will send you to hell. This is a common idea many queer individuals are told, and to have it be reinforced in a show is extremely invalidating. The largest complaint fans had was the obvious abuse of the bury your gays trope in this scene. The thing that brings Dean the most happiness is the reason for his death. Not only is his happiness his downfall, but it is him confessing his feelings to his best friend and in turn coming out that causes his death. It is almost as if the producers looked up the definition of the trope and felt that they needed to participate. These shows and many others like them refuse to let their gay characters have a moment of happiness and keep it. Whether it is the show writers doing it on purpose or them simply being idiots, these disproportionate killings need to be stopped and called out for the bullshit that they are. All the trope shows is that gay characters, and by extension people, are not allowed to live happy lives and will either be miserable or dead altogether. Growing up, it can be hard not seeing yourself represented in media, and as a result, think of yourself as weird or not worthy. If individuals only see themselves ending up depressed and alone, it isn't hard to see why they might think the same will happen to them.